What is good, my fellow Chicago Bears fans? So by now, I'm sure you guys have all heard that Teven Jenkins is going to have back surgery. But it was pretty inevitable that it would come down to this, considering the fact that Teven Jenkins still has not practiced in training camp, and this was bound to happen. So on this video, we are going to talk about Teven Jenkins' back surgery, my thoughts on it, and we're also going to talk about why Teven Jenkins is not a bust, and we're also going to go through why the offensive line is not an issue. But before we can get that, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. 93% of you are not subscribed to my channel, and I know we can do better than that. Make sure you go and leave a big thumbs up and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you go watch this video all the way to the end, hit the notifications, and let me know what you think about Teven Jenkins' back injury. Now, with that all being said, let's dive right into the video. So let's talk about this injury for a second. Teven Jenkins has not played at all since training camp has started, and the timeline we've gotten since this injury occurs like this. On July 28th, Matt Nagy came out and said that Teven Jenkins has some back tightness. And they were all thinking, okay, back tightness, we'll be back in a few days. And then on July 30th, Matt Nagy came out and said how he wants to be out there, but how the Bears still want to play it safe and they don't want to rush him out there in case his back injury gets worse. And on August 2nd, he came out and said, I think we are heading in the right direction, which is good. Then on August 3rd, he said that we're continuing with the arrow up. And then he also said on August 3rd that every day it's getting a little bit better and it's not going the other way. Then on August 5th, he described it once again as back tightness. And then on August 10th, he said that we're still working through it. Then on August 14th, the Chicago Bears signed Jason Peters, and he said this has nothing to do with Teven Jenkins and his back injury. And then on August 18th, today, he came out and said that Teven Jenkins is having back surgery. And I'm not really mad at Teven Jenkins. He cannot control the fact that he's having back surgery. I'm more mad on Matt Nagy and the medical personnel on letting this come today. It seemed to me that between August 3rd and August 10th, something happened to Teven Jenkins. He might have had a setback because around that time, it was reported by Adam Johns and Adam Hodge that Teven Jenkins was pulling a golf cart. And it was also around that time when Nicholas Moriano saw Teven Jenkins pulling up a sled. So something happened, and because after that, Teven Jenkins was just on a stationary bike for quite a bit before now getting back surgery. And the Chicago Bears are not telling us what happened, and that's what makes it really, really frustrating. Like, why did they wait all this time to have Teven Jenkins get back surgery? Why didn't they wait until like August 2nd or August 3rd or August 5th to have Teven Jenkins get back surgery? My guess is that they wanted to avoid the surgery as much as possible, but Teven Jenkins' condition kept getting worse, and therefore they had to make the decision for Teven Jenkins to get back surgery. But again, I wish this would have come sooner. Now, I want to discuss why Teven Jenkins is not a bust. Teven Jenkins cannot control the fact that he got injured. In college, sure, he was injured. He did get a lumbar strain, and he cannot control the fact that he has back tightness. It's not his fault that he has this. It's not his fault that he's injured. It's beyond his control. And this guy wants to come back. We have seen him on Twitter interacting with the fans. He loves us fans. He wants to come back. We have seen what he can do on that football field. He's insane. If you guys have ever watched The Blind Side, you remember that scene where Michael Orr pushes that defender over the stands? That's what Teven Jenkins brings to the Chicago Bears. A certain amount of strength that we've never had before. There was a play last year in his college career where Teven Jenkins pushed a defender all the way to the sideline. Teven Jenkins' strength is unbeatable, and the fact that people are already calling him a bust without seeing him play, it just irks me in the wrong way. And I don't like this pessimistic view that people are having over Teven Jenkins, because none of the tackles that we could have drafted had we stayed at the spot that we were at the second round could not provide us with the strength that Teven Jenkins has. And Teven Jenkins is unique in that sense, okay? And even with the Bears, the Bears saw that Teven Jenkins did have that back injury in college, but Teven Jenkins was able to come back. He was able to use that resilience, and he was healthy. He was able to have a productive pro day. He was able to be healthy when the draft came along, and this is just a new issue that came around, and it's not his fault, okay? So let's stop calling Teven Jenkins a bust. Let's stop calling him Chris Williams. Let's stop calling him Kevin White until he has stepped forward on that field. So let's stop that right now. And now let's talk about offensive line, because when people talk about this offensive line, it's like you're talking about that one movie, Alexander and a No Good, Horrible, Bad Day. But I don't think that's true. So looking at the offensive line, at center we have Sam Mustipher, at right guard we have James Daniels, at left guard we have Cody Whitehair, at right tackle we have Jermaine Afadi, and then we have the left tackle, the most concerning position, where we have Elijah Wilkinson, we have Jason Peters, and then we have the rookie Larry Borum. And let's talk about Elijah Wilkinson for a second. Elijah Wilkinson, he was pretty decent. He was okay at Denver. He wasn't good. He wasn't the best, but he's okay. He's a good piece. He's a good depth piece in that tackle position. And then let's talk about Jason Peters. In 2019, Jason Peters was really, really solid according to PFF. However, in 2018, he was not great, but he was above average according to PFF. And the reason for that is that he was injured quite a bit. He had a toe injury, and he was injured in 2020. Also, 2020 was just a crazy year, in terms of the NFL, but also for the Eagles, with all the stuff going on in Philadelphia in 2020. So I don't know how much we can put blame on Jason Peters for his, he's a really, really underrated signing. And if healthy, this guy can be really, really insane. I mean, we're talking about a future Hall of Famer in Jason Peters. This guy is a 9-time Pro Bowler. From 2007 to 2011, he was a Pro Bowler. And then from 2013 to 2016, he was a Pro Bowler. And he's a 2-time first team All-Pro, and he got this in 2011 and in 2013. So if he can get back to that elite level, I mean, the Bears are set at left tackle, and that's not to worry. And then we got a guy like Larry Borum, and I've heard a lot of positive things, and I'm talking to my good friend Scott Fisher, the GOAT of college football. And to sidetrack here, if you all are not subscribed to my boy Scott Fisher, go and subscribe. He is the GOAT of college football, and he knows everything there is to know about college football. So he's pretty credible. And when I asked him about Larry Borum, he also happens to be a Mizzou fan. He said that he's really solid, and he said he's really, really good. So I'm going to take my boy Scott Fisher's word on that. I'm going to say that Larry Borum is also going to be solid. And, if we're looking at this in the future sense, that offensive line is going to be really, really, if we have a line where we have Larry Borum starting at left tackle, and then say we let Jermaine Afadi go, and Teven Jenkins is healthy at right tackle, and Teven Jenkins can produce, the Bears have one of the youngest offensive line, and an offensive line that can be really, really good for Justin Fields in the future. So I'm not too worried about the offensive line. And again, to end it here, guys, I just want to reiterate the point that Teven Jenkins is not a bust. It's not Teven Jenkins' fault that he's injured. And personally, for me, I've had a lot of surgeries, a lot of things to be on my control that I cannot control, that made me the person today, but I'm not going to let it define me. So let's do the same thing with Tab. He's not going to let his injuries define him. He's going to push through, and he's going to be the best offensive tackle. And mark my word on this, Teven Jenkins will be a top 10 offensive tackle. And he will be up there with the great offensive tackles we have currently, like Taylor Lewan and others. So last time, Teven Jenkins is not a bust. Now, with that all being said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to go and subscribe to my channel. Make sure to go and sack that like button for YouTube algorithm. Make sure to let me know what you thought about today's video. Hit bell notifications, and I hope you have a great day, and bear down.